come off that Twitter, that X today, because I can't even work out the mentalities on there. And if I did take a guess at them, I think I'd be physically sick. Now, a white paedophile gang has been put behind bars for quite a long time, and not long enough. In fact, I think for paedophilia, I would actually bring back hanging. And there, I've started another debate that will get me abused, call me a gammon by the morons, the imbeciles, and the harder thinking. But it's just the way I think. I think we need to protect our children. We need to protect our kids. And having been an ex-police officer, I've seen some horrible, horrible cases and some horrible, horrible evidence and photographs. And it turns my guts. And so they've been quite rightly been put behind bars. Now, they're white. They would have been investigated straight away as soon as a complaint was made. They would have been nicked pretty quickly, and they would have been brought in and charged, put into court, and quite rightly put behind bars, as I say, not long enough. But on Twitter, the amount of race baiters, far left imbeciles, people who I think must find it hard to tie their shoelaces and maybe need to go knocking on doors to find out where they live at night, they're scoring political points with that. I just don't understand where our humanity has gone. To me, a load of kids have been raped, and it doesn't matter to me whether they're passed around a group of men who are white, whether they are passed around a group of Pakistani Muslim men who racially abuse them while they're raping them, and then in certain cases boil hot water up and pour it over their genitalia so that no one else will want them. It doesn't matter to me either way. Our kids are being abused, our kids are being tortured, and our kids don't deserve that. Very often innocent, very often a lot of these girls dragged up, haven't really got a mum and dad, and as soon as they're showing a bit of attention, any sort of attention, they go along with it. Yeah, and people scoring political points with it. If you get a murder, if you get a Muslim person murdered, or a black person murdered by a white person, by someone with a far right ethos, that's the bad far right. If you get a white person or a black person murdered by a Muslim, what the fuck is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? It's still a murder. It's still a human being with a family who's been murdered. And people try and, let's start saying things the way they are. Because we're a white majority in this country, more sex crimes, more abuse, more burglaries, more everything will be committed by white people. But proportionately, Pakistani males have got a problem with grooming and rape. They're 4 times more likely, not my figures, the government figures, to be rapists than white males are. White Christian males, if you like. So there's a problem there, isn't there? A problem that needs to be addressed. And with white males, it seems that they haven't really got a target victim, although many of them are white. And Pakistani grooming gang rapists seem to have a propensity for non-Muslim girls. So we've got to start talking properly about it. Most terror attacks, 73% of terrorist attacks that have happened in the world since 1979 are Islamist. So consequently, when someone goes mad anywhere, stabs, shoots, your mind is naturally going to think, I wonder if it's one of the 73%. That makes you human. It doesn't make you far right. You're almost happy for them, for the Muslim community, when it's not a Muslim that commits one of these acts of terror. And some of these people on X, they glorify in it. After the Huntington train attack, terrible attack, and you get these people on X. See, it wasn't a Muslim. That's going to really annoy the far right. I wouldn't. Who is the far right? The extreme far right? Yeah, it probably will annoy them. What about all us that are labelled far right? That didn't annoy me. I was just gutted that some maniac had hurt people. I didn't care what colour the people were. I didn't care what religion they were. I didn't care what colour the attacker was. I didn't care what religion he was. I just thought it was an evil act. Whether he was mentally ill or whatever, it's an evil act. But on that X, see, it wasn't a Muslim. No thought for the victims whatsoever. Just political point scoring because he wasn't one of the usual suspects. And when 73% of terror attacks are committed by one group, yes, that's the usual suspects. I was surprised it wasn't an Islamist. But I didn't get any great pleasure out of the fact of whether he was or whether he wasn't. Or the hero, the train guard, he was a Muslim. See, Muslims good, white Christians bad. It's just ridiculous. What about the white guy who helped him try and subdue the bloke? What about him? Oh, he don't matter. He don't matter. There's no points in that. No, the hero of it all was the train guard, and he was a Muslim. What sort of brain do you have to rationalise like that? Celebrating that even though people were badly injured, the attacker wasn't a Muslim. I'm surprised you don't say a group of Islamist leaders will be parading on an open-top bus, leaving from Huntington Town Hall at midday in celebration that this terror attack wasn't down to an Islamist. It's ridiculous. Scoring political points just because on this occasion it wasn't one of the Islamist nutjobs' handiwork. And when the attacker is a Muslim, or the far right will use this, it will give an excuse for the far right to be Islamophobic. Islamophobic. Phobic. A phobia is an irrational fear. If someone says, oh, another Islamic terror attack, that's not being Islamophobic. That's just being precise. I wish the far right never had any ammunition because I wish there was never any terror attacks here in the UK or anywhere. I wish people, no matter if they're left or right politically, black or white, Muslim or Christians, I wish they could all go about their business safely in a civilised world that we should have nowadays. Makes me sick. People make me thoroughly physically sick. Social media is just a cesspit. And immigration, illegal immigration, these people with no documentation who commit crimes. Oh, well, you know, white people, black people, British people, they commit crimes too. Yeah, they do. Horrific crimes. So why do we want to import more? Why do we want to let people who we know nothing about come into our country and commit those crimes? Aren't enough kids of all colours and races being raped? Aren't enough women being sexually assaulted of all races and colours? Aren't enough children being abused? Aren't enough people being killed? Aren't there enough of those crimes happening already? How many more do we want? But if you speak out about any of that, you get abused. And as someone that's fought against racism, unfairness, inequality all my life, having seen black friends abused back in London when I was growing up, the Windrush people treat you terribly. No blacks, no dogs, no whatever, no Irish, sorry. I never want to see a repeat of that. But conversely, I'm not going to stay quiet when there's clearly a problem there. So I became a far-right racist gammon, according to people on X. And my way of thinking is this is all about division. When I look at the television, there's always two extremes. You've got a guy bordering on far right and a guy bordering on far left, and people nodding like dogs in between. Oh, I'm joining that tribe. Oh, I'm joining that tribe. Let's get back to talking. Today it's divisive about a 100-year-old veteran who went on television and said he regrets all the death that he saw all the young lives lost because of the society that we've got today. And you've got a Muslim presenter saying, well, what do you actually mean by that? Like when Sadiq Khan gets questioned about the Pakistani rape gangs, oh, what are you trying to say? Why don't we be honest? Why don't we just say, well, when you look round and see some of the Islamists that we've got in this country now, those just walking in, when you look round and see some of the white paedophile gangs that are just getting banged up, who've abused our kids, when you look around and you see shoplifters that can take 200 quid worth of stuff and get away with it, when you look around and see young Somalian lads running through the streets with machetes, hitting each other, when you look around and see that it's not a safe place for women to walk late at night, when you look around and see that 12,000 people a year are being arrested by police for social media posts, when you look around and you see that there's now non-crime hate incidents, when you look around and see people who can't afford to go on holiday, can't afford to pay their rent, can't afford to eat sometimes because of our government and governments before that one and governments before that one. When you see that, what was the point of hundreds, thousands of young men and women dying for our freedom? What was the point? When you look around at lying politicians, your Starmers, your Boris Johnsons, your Blairs, your Camerons, lying politicians, your Nick Cleggs, people that lie for a living, people that won't answer a question, people that go behind the back of the British people. When you look around, was it worth all those young people dying? When you look on X and see imbeciles using the rape of kiddies, their rapist colour and their religion to score political points, oh, just fuck off. I agree with that old fella. No, it wasn't worth it, because this country is now turning into a shithole. It's going downhill, and it's going downhill fast. Sorry folks, I just had to get it off my chest. Apologies for the language.
Become the voice, become the mission. Born here